Yes. Come on. Come on.
This is too funny.
No, why do you keep stepping in the sun? Yes, good boy. Okay. Get in here, Nathan. Get in here.
Oh, wait.
Don't lick her. No, don't get that. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess, and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today we have Nadine back. She's back.
Hey.
And we're going to be talking about The Shaggy Dog. The Shaggy Dog is a 2006 theatrical release. It is about a lawyer who gets humbled when he's forced to see through the eyes of a dog and learn lessons about morals and family. It is directed by Brian Robbins, cinematography by Gabriel Beristain, editing by Ned Bastille, music by Alan Menken, and it's written by Cormac, Wibberley, Marianne Wibberley, Geoff, Rodkey, Jack, Amiel, and Michael Begler. The film stars Tim Allen as Dave, Kristin Davis as Rebecca, Zena Grey as Carly, Spencer Breslin as Josh, and Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Kozak. This is obviously a remake of any number of Disney movies about the Shaggy Dog. Obviously, we have the original with Moochie, Tommy Kirk, and Fred MacMurray. Iconic. There's the Shaggy DA. I think there's like a return of the Shaggy Dog, maybe. I don't remember. I have to go back and look. And then there's the 90s Shaggy Dog that I was unable to watch, but we'll be able to go back and watch because we found it. And that's the one my brother remembers and really likes, so I'm excited to watch that one. I also just like Scott Weinger, so I'm excited to go back and watch that one as well. This movie had a $50 million budget, made $87.1 million, which is really not great. I mean, it made more than what it took to make, but it also has a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the consensus has neither inspiration nor originality, but may please moviegoers under the age of 10. Brutal.
I think that a lot of the camera work, I like the way that they were shifting different like perspectives the entire time. So like, 1 minute we're through the dog's eyes, 1 minute we're through the audience's perspective, and then the whole like going through the bloodstream stuff. But I thought that there was just so much action in this movie, and I think that the pace of like the way the camera work and the cinematography was done was really good.
Yes, I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a very good looking movie. I think the effects are pretty good for a 2006, chill Shaggy Dog remake. I think it's got really great movement. I think the transition from him into a dog isn't terrible. Definitely could be better, but it's 2006. And I think the bloodstream stuff, that's always fun. It gives me very Jimmy Neutron vibes every time.
Literally?
Jimmy Neutron!
Yeah.
I don't have a lot about editing. I just wrote, I didn't really notice the editing, which typically means the editor did a good job. I didn't feel that it was, I didn't feel that there weren't any unnecessary scenes, but there weren't scenes that I was like, okay, what are we even doing here?
Right,
I don't need to see this. This is unnecessary. So, for me, the editing was fine for the story we got.
So there were 3 songs in this whole movie. Which, I understand, but the entire time there was some sort of score going, and it was a very sort of prickly kind of you gotta get your anxiety up with it, so I thought it was appropriate, but there were moments where I was thinking there's just a lot of noise in this movie. There's just a constant, stream of active sound, and then there's barking, and then there's animals and screaming and whatever. So there was only one song that I actually cared for and enjoyed, and I think that was the scene where he was chasing through the highway and stuff. But other than that, didn't have much to say about the song.
Yeah. I have zero opinion on the score. They got a chuckle out of me when it went super kind of horror movie-y for a second. I was like, huh. That's what they got. The other moment that made me oh god, was Who Let the Dogs Out. I was like, of course it's in this movie. Early 2000s, movie about dogs, Who Let the Dogs Out had to be in it, because that song was I
think that's the song I was talking about.
That you liked?
I think so.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was funny. So
that's the one that
I think it was that one.
No, because that's the one where he does, I think it's the sprinkler chase. where he's like running through all the yards.
Yes.
I think that's Who Let the Dogs Out.
Okay. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't remember the one during the highway where he's on the phone with his wife and he's got all the animals in the car with him.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. I don't think it was Who Let the Dogs Out, because I remember Who Let the Dogs Out started when he like, well, maybe it is that one because they were escaping.
Either way,
I don't know.
They hardly, yeah.
No matter what, for me,
there was like 3 songs.
Yes,
and
yes,
it was there.
And Who Let the Dogs Out? I think Who Let the Dogs Out might be in like 102 Dalmatians or something.
Yeah.
So it's like not the first time it's been used. Mm-hmm. And I'm also like, okay. So the original Shaggy Dog, he doesn't get bit by the dog.
Okay.
It's a ring.
Okay.
That transforms him. It's like a magical ring that transforms him back and forth between the dog. So it's like an artifact, and I don't know if they say the origin of the ring in the original movie. I don't remember, but in this, I kind of was not crazy about the fact that it had to be like some ancient dog from Tibet. Why couldn't it have just been like some magic dog? Why do we have to go like a Tibet route?
Right.
I also thought it was weird that it was DNA centered. I get why they went that way, because it ended up being like, you know, DNA focused with the whole experimentations and stuff. But then it made me like, oh, is it not reversible then? Like, he's going to transform into a dog forever. Like, he's just going to learn how to transform. So I had those kinds of questions.
Right.
And then I have the whole, every Tim Allen movie, especially with Disney, except maybe Toy Story, he's the same character.
Yeah.
He is the same character in every movie.
Right.
And he's deplorable for 90% of it and, like, barely learns a lesson and becomes just likable enough for people to care.
Interesting. You know, I kept thinking back to the Santa Claus because it was the same theme, like you're saying.
There's also another Disney movie called Jungle to Jungle that is literally, if you just took away, like, just take away the dog and the Santa aspect of it.
Same thing.
The Infinity and Beyond moment, no.
Yeah. Okay, so here's, leading up to that, I was watching how he transforms into the dog, and then I thought every other scene that he transforms, his clothes just, like, fall or rip off of him. And I thought, as he was like transforming on the highway, in going into that particular scene, I'm like, why is the little blue article of clothing like miraculously shrunken down to fit the dog in this, only in this moment? And then it goes into like being the cape for that To Infinity and Beyond. I was like, no. This is like probably the cheesiest part of this whole thing, and it was a no. I like the message and the theme of this movie.
Sure.
So there's a lot of the theme being like everyone has karmic debt, and there's a cycle to all of it, and of course there's this whole like spiritual element with meditating and like reaching and looking within.
Yes.
Leave it to me to find those pieces of the film, but
and leave it to me to hate Tim Allen.
So I like that because obviously there's you know the character development, at least enough to in the end, you know, the point is that he learns not to be so mean, and I loved that the moments where he was really bonding and connecting with his kids was in the form of Shaggy the dog. And that particularly in those moments he can't speak and use his words, so it just kind of shows you that a lot of connection and bonding doesn't always have to be with such great grand gestures and words and stuff. It is all through like your action. And I just thought that the way there were many scenes where he was just suddenly like so illuminated and, you know, having some kind of like realization about his kids because he was spending time with them as the dog, and I thought those were sweet. So
yes, I agree, and I love those moments. I'm just mad because I feel like they did them a disservice.
Okay.
Because those moments could have been so much more like weighted and effective had they just wrote it better, written it better, whatever.
It felt like the pace was kind of like, it was 1 minute we were the dog, and then you know, and in one moment we're slow, like bonding and all that, and then the next is like he doesn't have time, he transforms. So I get what you mean, like
and like it felt like they did those moments just to like give him the growth.
Yeah.
Where instead of like getting us there naturally, because he wasn't, like, he was the dog for a good chunk of the movie, but because of the plot of, like, trying to save and, like, you know, the animal experimenting, animal testing, whatever, what have you, which we also love the message of no animal testing, because that became such a big part of it, I feel like it took away from those moments that could have, like, I could have been crying in those moments.
Right.
Had they been set up correctly, executed correctly.
Yes.
I don't want to say correctly,
Yeah,
that's kind of a turd blossom thing to say. But, like, if they had been set up with more weight to it. Like, the movie starts and it's like, okay, both his kids, like, we get it.
Right.
Both his kids, his wife are neglected by him because of his focus on his job. Fine, we've seen this 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna make me care about this specific family?
I actually laughed a lot in this movie.
Oh, okay, good. What was funny for you?
Were you just, like, checked out the whole time?
I don't like the word checked out because that makes it sound like I wasn't watching the movie.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, just...
I mean, there were definitely, like, I think there's an aspect of this movie that I do like that we can get to, but some of the humor, like, is just not my humor.
Yeah, acting like a dog while he was a person, I didn't think was funny either, but I did appreciate them kind of depicting how he can't resist his instinct. Like, portraying the dog and, like, personifying that, I thought that was good. But in terms of, like, funny moments, I don't know why, like, him growling at the judge in the beginning made me laugh, because it's so stupid.
It is so dumb. It's so dumb, but that was, like, a secondhand embarrassment scene that I was like,
right.
I can't deal with this. Don't even look at me. Like,
so that, I don't know why that made me laugh, but, when there was, like, this homeless guy,
yes.
The homeless
that
scene was so
funny.
ridiculous, and it was just...
Where he, like, had him throw the stick.
Yes, and he goes, but no, there was a little exchange there where he was like, here's $5, I need you to throw the stick, and he was like, do I look like someone who needs $5? But the way they looked at each other, like, it was just really funny. That part, I, like, busted out laughing. And then also my favorite line, delivered in this whole movie, also made me laugh. It was the son's friend from school, who I recognized was a girl that acted in That's So Raven, which I liked that there were so many familiar faces in this. But she says, wow, men are really complicated. And then, like, walks off the scene, and I was like...
She had a bunch of good ones. Like... Her just ripping into him, like, you better come to this audition, I better see you tomorrow. I'm like, her walk-ons and walk-offs were definitely highlights, for sure.
There was also a scene where the monkey, I think it was when they were driving on the highway, and the monkey, like, freaks out when he's slamming the brakes. It's funny because it's, like, so outrageous. Like, it's something that you kind of have to, like, go down to the level to, but I thought that was funny.
Well, this channel knows how I feel about monkeys in movies now, because of Disney. Color me shook that Robert Downey Jr. is in this movie. Literally, he appeared on screen and I was like, I'm sorry, what? Robert Downey Jr., I think, could shine in any movie possible.
For sure.
He was great in this. I thought he did a fabulous job. He stood out for me.
Part of why I picked this movie was because I knew he was in it.
Oh, I had no idea. I was so surprised.
Yes.
I was like, I'm sorry, is that Robert Downey Jr.? Wait.
Oh, yeah, and I did the same thing where, I mean, I knew he was in this movie too, and I was watching it, but I was kind of distracted in my living room for a minute, and then I heard his voice, and I went, pause and rewind. Like, I need to watch this, you know. But obviously, just stellar, and, like, can put together and really embody, like, any character.
Yeah.
But the reason why I think he probably went for this role is, and maybe just something that I also just really appreciate about it is because it is such a kinesthetic, like, you're moving around, like, being super animated and silly kind of thing, and Robert, like, he does that. He is that. Like, he is a mover, and you can see that in all of his kind of just the way his body even forms and his lines and everything. So I really loved seeing that because it was just a different like taste on just really how he can use his body. like he has a background in dance. I remember really appreciating that he actually did ballet when he was younger. But like you can see it in like other movies like Chaplin and Sherlock Holmes. Like he is very like his body is his art form. Like,
yes.
So when he's acting all like feral and silly and whatever in this movie, I think that's like he was using that to his advantage. Like obviously this role is like it, right? But I think that it still showed so much, and I don't think anyone else could have done his part as well as he did.
For sure.
I didn't like their entire relationship, and I felt that they had zero chemistry.
Oh! Zero
like,
chemistry. I was like, she's trying her best, but she hates this man. And I don't blame her. Because it's Tim Allen.
Yeah, so that was, it was kind of uncomfortable even to like watch these scenes. It was just like so forced.
Yes.
You know, like.
My least favorite by far and away is when he's saying I love you as the dog and turns back into himself.
When he was outside on the stairs.
Yes, in the courthouse stairs.
Yeah.
I was like, this, no.
This is
I think I
disgusting.
was groaning. Like, I think it, like, as the camera started, I was like, oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Because I can predict everything
I
in
was
this
in the middle,
movie.
like, wait, what? Like, I was like...
And she starts crying when he says, I love you as a dog. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
It's not. It was very uncomfortable. It really was. And then... I mean, I'm just, like, looking into it a little bit too much. Because it's like, why are you staying with him? After
like,
all
actually,
of this,
though. Like, actually.
After all of this, and then,
it's
like, just him disappearing.
heavily implied that it's not the first time he's acted like this toward them.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So it's like, this would be the end of my rope. Like, even if it was true that he was changing into a dog, I'd be like, okay, but we're still getting divorced. Like, you're not great to our children,
yeah.
so. Yes.
Yeah, that just, the dynamic between the two, I mean, I understand they were picked for a reason, but it didn't come off well, like, just on screen. I didn't like them together at all.
So do you have a favorite part?
I mean, like I said, the scene where the little school friend said, men are really complicated.
Okay, do you have a least favorite part? Oh, my favorite part is when the kids and the mom are pooping on their dad.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I really did like when the dad came around while he was still in the form of Shaggy and pulls out his son's backpack and pulls out the grease.
That's really good.
Script. I thought that was really sweet. My heart melted a little.
Yeah,
bit.
they did that well.
Yes.
That's well
probably my favorite.
Okay, least favorite? Turning back into a man as he's saying I love you is mine. On the courthouse steps, 100%. So awful.
This one's hard because there were a lot of cringe scenes. Like, I don't know.
I wrote gross.
I want to...
The sandwich scene?
The sandwich scene I really hate too, but I mean, I almost feel like it's every time they use that, like, the camera, like, going... Like, the camera going into, like, the sandwich part, as well as, like, going into the bloodstream and out of his mouth. Like, those things, I understand why they were used, but I just didn't love that. I thought the early scene when he goes to the pound and he's, like, looking at the dog that bit him and was all like, you can see me, you know, like that scene I would say was probably something I really did not like to watch.
Sure.
Like, it was just, I don't know, that also felt very forced in a way.
Yeah.
So that's probably my least favorite.
Okay. Would you recommend this movie? Would you? I mean, if you would, go for it.
I struggle because I like the message when it comes to the whole spiritual kind of aspect.
You are so sweet. You have so much grace.
Thank you. And just being a good person and whatever. And I also think that, you know, you have to give it to Tim. Like, he does do a good job with, like, his body as well. But I think, like, if anyone's gonna watch this movie, it really would be for, like, the Robert scenes. So if anyone was really interested in possibly just looking into, like, some of his history or something, I would say, hey, check this out. But unless you're, like, 5, I don't think I would share this movie, and I hate to say that. But
Oh, I wouldn't recommend it. Don't waste your time. There are so many movies that teach the same lesson that are better than this, in my opinion.
Right.
So, I wouldn't recommend it. I
guess.
love how sweet you are about it, though. That was very sweet. And then would you watch it again?
No.
Yeah. No. I wrote, please don't make me.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote for the answer to that.
I don't think so.
All right, cool. And then specific moments. I know we've touched on a lot. One moment, which is just a total, like, walk-on line, is the neighbor says that's why they call them trophy wives. And I was like, okay. See, now I understood that he was, like, not a great neighbor because he's letting his dog pee on the other neighbor's yard. And the neighbor has asked him not to. But that comment, I was like, okay, take his roses. See what I care. That's garbage.
Yeah.
So I hated that. I really thought Tim couldn't be topped. Gross.
That's funny.
So that's really the only specific moment that we haven't touched on, like, for me.
Right.
That I was like, okay, why is every man in this movie horrible?
Yes. But, yeah. Overall, I can see where there was a lot of hard work put into this.
Oh, sure.
I appreciate most aspects of it. But it is, for a young audience, and it is, like, in terms of just the way, like, animation and CGI and whatever, like, it's dated because it was
that's fine.
Early 2000s
forgivable
thing. So, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm indifferent, but I just, like, honestly don't care for it that much. I enjoyed watching Robert. I appreciated how Tim Allen, like, can do the job. Like, he can transform into many things, apparently, because that's what he likes to do. But there were so many things that I think outweighed the very few really good parts, and I think you sort of highlighted that earlier. Like, there was just too many cringe, there was too many this doesn't feel right, there was too many those sort of things that just, like, cancel out a lot of for me. So I guess that's why I'm kind of, like, just neutral.
Right.
If you love this movie, comment down below why.
Yeah. Also, though,
I'd love to know.
If you've seen the original and you like this better, I need to know why. I need to know why you would like this better, other than the cinematography's better and the effects are better. Because, of course, the original, come on.
2 paws out of 10.
Pause, I like it. Alright, so it's getting a 3 from me. Because the cinematography. Because I do like a breakdown. So I do directing, cinematography, editing, music, writing, acting, and enjoyment opinion.
Yeah.
Cinematography got like a 7 because it is good cinematography.
It is,
It's very good. It's pretty. The color correction is gorgeous. And that 7 is bringing the score up. I gave it a 0 for writing and a 1 for enjoyment and opinion. So let's keep that in mind. But 3 paws out of 10 for me. Our total movie count is on the screen. And parent death, total, and cry count are still the same. I didn't hear any parent deaths. Did you? Okay, good. If you want to keep up with the movie I'm watching when, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put out videos every Monday and Friday and sometimes Wednesday. Follow Nadine. Okay? She's great. We love her. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you driving all this way all the time to be in these videos.
It is my pleasure.
Wow. That's so nice. Okay. Join Patreon. Nadine's a patron. She's over there. It's too nice to me. That's what she is. She brought me a plant.
That's how nice. It's a love language of mine.
Gifts? Is it?
Yes, but I meant plants as gifts specifically.
Plants as gifts specifically. Okay, good. And we got all the tiers over there. A tier starting at just $1 where you can get every video a week early and a coupon code for merch. Speaking of merch, buy merch! Nadine has this one.
I do. I should have worn it today.
Jokes on everyone.
What are you wearing underneath?
Come on! Isn't that great? I'm wearing the same thing in a different color underneath.
So pick a color that you like.
Pick a color and go buy it. Okay! Until next time, comment, like, subscribe, but I'm not in charge of your life. You are, so do you, and don't be...
Unfortunately, Robert Downey Jr.'s character about it.
Yeah.
Because it hurts me to say that.
Yeah, he was the villain. He was the key. Listen, I didn't feel like blow drying my hair. So it's still wet. Okay? Okay. But it'll be dry with Nadine. Did it!
That was fun.
That was fun. Good job. You always bring such beautiful, like, deep talks about it.
That's just how I see life.